Okay. Okay. Welcome to today's broadcast. Please hold on. We're going to be starting shortly. Here we are live. Welcome. Let me admit those who are joining us. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I see Dr. B, welcome.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
And let me be sure. Okay, good. Good morning. We are on YouTube. Just in case you're missing this, you can follow later on, or you can watch it later on YouTube. Today we have a common challenge to many. It's not like addiction where someone would say, well, that's not my problem. Today we're talking about how to stop worrying, how to stop worrying. That's a common thing to many of us. As I go on, I would continue to mute us, just ensure that we're not interrupted. So today we're going to talk about worrying. How do I stop worrying? Can I ever stop worrying? I want to say that it's normal to worry. It's normal to be concerned. There are normal biological worries that are natural and in some cases healthy. In other words, those things help us to have a healthy preparation for things that are coming. So those are not the worries that we are talking about today. And there are differences between worry, anxiety, and anxiety disorder. So anxiety disorder would be one that is diagnosed already by a psychiatrist or a doctor who has said, this is what you have. And then there is anxiety that is not diagnosed, but has the same symptoms that anxiety disorder has. So those are also part of our discussion today. And then there is normal worry that everybody goes through. Excuse me, while I'm talking, I'm also admitting people who want to join us. So I'm not leaving anybody. Let me just do all that and then continue. A lot of people are joining. Okay, so there are ways of knowing what is stress, what is worry, what is anxiety. The stress is normal. If I have exam to take, the concern about whether I will pass or not, what is coming up in the exam, what should I prepare? Those bring stress. Those are normal worries that we deal with. You're driving, you're going for an interview, and you worry, what do I say? Are they gonna like me? Would I be able to answer their questions? How do I prepare? Those lead to stress. In other words, worry leads to stress, meaning your normal balance of emotion is disturbed, it's elevated. In fact, when I describe it clinically, I would say your mood or your stress level is high. If I want to teach you about just worry, I will talk about stress management. But anxiety and a panic attack, those things take a different form. So what are the things that I need to know so that I can make a determination whether this is normal worry or this is a worry that I should need clinical help? We'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about signs and symptoms of worry and anxiety, and then coping skills, which is really the topic of today. I'm going to give us 7 things you can do either to prevent it or to minimize your level of worry. So what are the things when it comes to everyday stress, which is worry? You are responding to a specific event, a specific object, a specific thing. So you know where the stress is coming from. It could be you're going for an interview, you're worried about the interview. And that's normal, as I said. Now, if you're super worried, if that worry begins to make you not able to even go to the interview, you're driving, your palms are sweating, you're shaking, now we're talking about a different thing. We're going into the level of anxiety. In that case, when the interview is over, generally you relax. But for those who have the anxiety disorder, it doesn't end. They find a new thing to worry about. Those who don't have it, Once the object of worry or the subject of worry is over, you relax. And some are able to say to themselves, well, I've taken that exam, whatever happened, happened. But some shift the worry from, am I going to pass? Or to, I missed this exam. If I missed one, I missed all. We generalize based on one thing. So, but when it comes to anxiety, we may not know the source of the panic. It could be anything, the source of the worry. It could be anything. We basically live a life of worry. Just making breakfast could be a source of anxiety. Someone is coming to visit you is a source of anxiety. I have patients who, when they come to visit me, when they come to see me, usually they will come to the lobby, and in the lobby there are a lot of people. That's a huge source of worry. How am I going to sit in that lobby? How long am I going to sit? How am I going to deal with people staring at me? I wonder what they are looking. So those things ruminate, they go through that in their head. Now we are talking about anxieties, no longer normal. Patients who can't go to the store because the fear of worrying about people looking at them and people yelling and people shouting and people doing things. They create those things in their head enough to generate fear to say, I'm not going today. I can't deal with that. And once that fear is there, it continues. Worry about living away from home, going somewhere. You're worried, how am I going to be able to succeed? How am I going to be able to survive without my support at home? I can't do that alone. That's worry. A constant and unsubstantiated worry that causes significant distress and interferes with your daily life. Now we are talking about anxiety. So it is the severity of it, the substance of it, meaning what is it based on, and the frequency of it. If it happens constantly, then we are talking about serious anxiety that may need consultation with a psychiatrist to diagnose that. But if it's you're worried about being embarrassed and you get over the thing, you're doing a public speech, and then you're worried about that, that's simple worry. We all go through that. We have butterflies in our stomach before we speak. In fact, my mentor, my public speaking mentor said, if you don't have butterflies before you speak publicly, then you're probably not gonna get it right. If you're excited to speak today, and you take that excitement and speak, unless you practice it for a while. The very best of public speakers have butterflies before they speak. Either you're worried about, am I gonna get it right? It may not be the people, the eyes of the people. It may just be, am I gonna be able to deliver what I prepared for and deliver them as I prepared? That may be your concern. So those are all normal concern that we have before we do something where we are facing public scrutiny or not. But those are concerns. So let's move from that to what are the signs? There are physical signs that we see. There are cognitive signs of worry and anxiety. And then there are behavioral signs. In other words, there are things we think, there are things we feel, and there are things we do. Emotionally, there are also some of the things. So I'm going to go through a few of them. On the physical symptoms of anxiety and worry. Now, again, I'm mixing them up because, again, I said the frequency of it, the severity of it, and the substance of it, meaning if we have no reason why we should be worried, or the reason why we are worried is not normal, then you're going into the anxiety level. If it happens every time, you have had a driver's license for years, but every time you think about driving, you're shaking. Now that's a problem. But if you're just worried normally, okay, today that road is really rough. It's a 2-lane road. I need to be really, really careful. I'm concerned every time I drive through this 2-lane with all the big 4-wheelers and trailers going through it. I need to be a little bit careful. If that's your concern, that's normal. So what are the physical concerns of worry and anxiety? Increased heart rates. Your heart beats a little bit faster than normal. Some people experience shortness of breath, meaning you're not getting enough energy, enough oxygen in your system. At least that's how you feel. Some people may experience chest pain and pressure, dizziness, choking sensation. You start coughing, you feel like you're choking. Some people, which is common to many, they sweat in the palm, they have hot flashes, chills, some severe part of it, they have nausea, upset of stomach, and some might even have diarrhea, sudden diarrhea. After that worry, trembling is normal, shaking of hands. One of my clients was shaking the other day. She was concerned about coming to see me, and I could see anxiety. She's seen me before, but we're sitting, we're chatting, but I could see her hand shaking. So we had to process that. So I asked her, what is the concern? And she said, I really dreaded coming here, but I knew I had to come and see you. I had to face this fear. And I said, what the dread? Do you want to process it? She said, well, I know I was going to talk about things that I don't really want to talk about. I'm going to talk about my pain and my trauma. And I really want to tell you, but the process of telling you and what would happen if I tell you, that's what's bothering me. And that's why I'm shaking. So those are normal. People may have muscle tension, dry mouths would suddenly come. Saliva would dry in our mouth. Those are all physical signs of either worry or anxiety. And then we have the cognitive symptoms, which is the things that happen in our mind, fear of losing control. This happens when we do public speaking. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they stir at me and I don't know what to say? What if they say good morning and start a conversation and I can't hold the conversation? These are things that go through in our mind. Fear of physical injury. What if I drive and I get into an accident? What if somebody starts a fight? I don't like fighting. What if someone yells? What if we just deal with all those what if in our mind as if they are? These are possibilities, but the possibility is very remote. That you will go to a grocery store and someone will pick a fight with you. But these are things that people will worry about in their head as if it happened. Fear of negative evaluation by others. What if they see me and they see that I have depression? What if they see that I can't really hold a conversation? What if they see me and they see how sad? What if I'm not groomed enough? And most of these people, when you're really dealing with depression, when you're dealing with mental illness, you tend to isolate. So your socialization is minimized already. So when you have to, sometimes you've even forgotten how easy it is to go to the store and pick up something and pay for it and leave. So they have to relieve it as if it's the first time. Frightening thoughts, images, and memories. That happens when we have trauma. We may have flashbacks. We may have thoughts. The last time I went to the store, this little girl was yelling. She couldn't stop, and I could not handle it. So that may be what you're ruminating. What if that little girl is there, or another girl is there, or someone else, and they start yelling, and I become very, very uncomfortable. So perception of unreality and detachment. We begin to imagine what is not there. What if maybe we've watched TV, or maybe we've watched the news about the guys that shot people in the store, in the grocery store. So we begin to be afraid. What if someone has a gun there? What if someone comes and does mass shooting while I'm there? What are the chances of that happening? Yeah, it does happen. But how many times does it happen? But we fear it as if it's 100% that is going to happen. So we are afraid of it that much, as if it's 100%. Narrowing attention of how we become hyper vigilant. These are all things that we think about. I'm going to share one with us. My client a few days ago has a paperwork that he needs to do. And that paperwork has been sitting on his table for the last 1 month. It's not procrastination now because this guy is diligent. That's not his problem. His problem is the fear of leaving the trauma of that paperwork, because what he's feeling was about his divorce. And that marriage was fraught with a lot of abuse. And he said, if I start feeling this paper now, then I'll remember all the things she did to me, or we did, the fights we had, the abuse, and all that I went through. And once he sees the paper, he's afraid of going back to his place of trauma. Poor memory. What if they ask me a question and I've forgotten? My client said that. I didn't do my homework. I don't remember the things we discussed last time. So I'm kind of anxious that you wouldn't ask me, what did we talk about last time? Because I usually would. I would say, do you remember what we discussed in the last session? I remember. I've reviewed their chat before they come, but I'm trying to juggle their memory. I'm also trying to assess their engagement. Are they thinking about the things we discussed, or are they not? So I usually would ask. And this guy said, well, I was having a panic while I was driving. I didn't want you to ask me what we talked about the last time, and maybe I wouldn't remember. Right now, I remember. I kind of reviewed it before I came here. I went through my notes, went through the homework you gave me, but I can't trust my memory to remember, especially when I need to remember. So all those things are cognitive symptoms of causes of anxiety. And then we have the emotional, feeling nervous, tense, wound up, feeling frightened, fearful, terrified, being edgy, jumpy, jittery, being impatient, frustrated, and all that. Those are the emotional reactions or symptoms that we see. We can almost say we either we're having anxiety or anxiety disorder, or we're worried. Now, what are the behaviors that people do when they experience heart rate? All the things that I talked about in the physical, all the things that I talked about in the cognitive, or some of the emotional reactions to anxiety. What do people do? Some people would avoid, like my client, who avoided completing that paperwork because of the emotions and the thinking and the physical reactions. So his way of dealing with it is to leave the paperwork alone for a month. He was sitting there. And to make matters worse, his mom had advised him, had encouraged him to take one page, just do one page or one paragraph at a time, which is a good, smart advice. But it's a smart advice for someone who is struggling with procrastination, not good for someone who is having anxiety. And what it means is that they are going to relieve that anxiety every day they do one page. So the right advice is take out one day, schedule it, get an accountability partner, and get it done one day, and it's over. Because it's not that you don't know how to do it. Your concern is the experience you're going to go through when you begin to answer those questions. So if you break it in bits, we are creating different days of that same experience. So we want to confront it gradually. Now, sometimes if it's going to the store, I might do what we call gradual or graduated exposure. I might say, okay, go when it's safe towards the end of the store, around 11 o'clock when there's no one there, or go around 9 o'clock in the morning, people have gone to work, the store is not busy. Start from there. That's that therapy. But in this particular case, my intervention was schedule it, have your mom around, have someone around, play some music, exercise before then, and then face it and do the paperwork. So some people avoid. Another thing is people just escape. They go into the store, it gets overwhelming, they turn around. My clients do that. They turn around and they leave without buying anything, without accomplishing their goal. They just leave. That's flight. Some people might go to safety and have other people do it for them. There are other behavioral things that we do to cope with worry, to cope with anxiety. But the principal one is avoidance and escape. And none of those two things solve the problem of worry or anxiety. If we avoid it, we are prolonging the feeling, the experience that we are living. So there are things we can do. Now, if you don't have any reason, everything is a problem. If, for instance, you have what we call social anxiety, your anxiety comes from meeting, interacting with people. So you isolate. The intervention is you gradually interact with people, gradually expose yourself to people you're comfortable with, and then you extend it and you extend it and you extend it, or you start with people your friends that you really love, that don't judge you. And then you you go in company of that friend to meet other friends, and then you keep going until you expand your step. So what are the coping skills that I promised? There are 7 of them that I'm going to talk about today. If you have worry, if you have anxiety, there are things you have to do. Anxiety is a reaction to what's going on inside. So the first thing that I want to do is to connect emotionally with someone that supports you. And the support I mean is that someone is present. I mean, someone is present who understands what you're going through, who would give you the right feedback, not give you the wrong feedback to what you're going. So connect with that person. What do I do in therapy? I'll bring mom. Who do you live with? I live with mom. I live with dad. I would have a family session in which I would talk about how to take care of someone dealing with anxiety. I would do a session that explains what anxiety is so that they understand what he's going through. And he understands what he's going through. I will talk about the symptoms so that he knows what the warning signs are. And then we will talk about how they should react. If he says, I can't go to the store, the reaction is, oh, you must go. It's not a big deal. Why do you keep disappointing? It's not disappointing because he wants to disappoint. There are things that he's dealing with. So, or he gives you an appointment. He says, okay, tomorrow we're going to the store. I'll go. Last minute, he said, I can't go. I have stomach ache. I comes up with reason. It's not a stomach ache. He may have stomach ache, but the stomach ache is not fake. It's a reaction to the anxiety. So we suggest we have him come. You can't go today. The intervention will be, okay, that's fine. You can't go today. When do you want to go? Or what's really going on? So have them promise the next time. Don't let them off the hook. Don't beat them up because of not going now. You're creating 2 problems. Be compassionate. So for you who is suffering from anxiety, identify someone who understands you, who is compassionate, at least who you could say, my problem is really, I hate noise. My problem is, I don't want people staring at me. My problem is, I don't know what I do if I don't remember things. If someone says hello, if I run into someone that I know, I've lost so much weight, I really don't want people to see me. That's my problem. And the person might say, chances are you wouldn't see anybody that knows you because this store we're going is really a new store. Nobody goes there. Or maybe we go when nobody's there. So connect with someone that supports you. And this goes for almost every mental illness. Connect with someone that supports you emotionally, physically, that are willing to help with almost every illness, mental illness, addiction, connecting with people that love you. And I'm not saying they love you the way they want, they love you the way you want to be loved. That's what's real love. They love you the way you want to be. They understand what makes you feel better, and they offer that. That's what real love is. So connect with those people. The next thing is be aware of your triggers. What are the things that trigger this anxiety? What's the source of it? Maybe the trigger may be your trauma. The trigger may be your abuse. The trigger may be self-esteem. The trigger may be guilt. The trigger may be whatever it is. You don't like yourself. You think you've gained weight. You don't want people to see you. And the act of meeting people, the suggestion of meeting people, now you're panicking because you think they will see that I've lost weight or I've gained weight, or they would see how I am now, that I'm unkept. So, and that's causing. So know your triggers. For one, for a lot of my patients, their triggers come from social media. They go to Facebook. For those who are going through divorce, they see the person who caused their trauma. That person seems to be doing well, or they see the people that are connected with the people that traumatized them. Those people seem to be moving on with their life. And it triggers that life of, look at me now. All these people did this to me and they've moved on with their life, and I'm here suffering. Social media does not really give you the true picture of what's going on. It doesn't. So we see them at their best. We see what they want to tell us. We think they are doing well, and we're not. So a lot of people are triggered by that. Some people are triggered by the news. If you were abused, if you watch the news, you might hear a story of someone who is going through what you went through, and suddenly you have flashbacks. You go through the same thing in your head. Your trigger may be loneliness. Just being by yourself, it makes you feel like nobody cares. So this is what I'm ending up being, alone by myself, no help, no love, and that's the trigger. Your trigger may be grief. You remember the loved one that died, and then that's the trigger that you're experiencing. Whatever is the trigger, be aware of what triggers your worry, what triggers your anxiety. It could be the fear of homelessness. Every time it's time to pay your rent, that fear of being homeless again, because you've been there before, your fear is so much so that the burden of that fear is even greater than the experience of homelessness. That's a place you don't want to go again. Or someone abused you before, and the fear of going through that is causing anxiety, so that when you see a good person who would love you, who would do the opposite of what the other person did, the anxiety is so much, and the fear does not allow you to even give those people a chance. So I have clients who said, I'm just dating because I don't want to get married again. I'm afraid someone would abuse me. And I'm like, if somebody's going to abuse you when you're married, they're likely to abuse you when you're dating them. They are not, marriage certificate doesn't make people suddenly start abusing you. If they are abusers, you'll see the sign. So, but the fear overwhelms common reasoning. So be aware of the triggers. Remember, I've talked about connecting to quality love, connecting, being able to ask for help and receiving the help that you need. Be aware of your triggers. Number 3, if you have anxiety disorder, if it's too frequent, if it's overwhelming, it's affecting your daily function, you're not able to socialize because your fear of people, you're not able to go to the store, you're even beginning to have anxiety going to the work. If it's affecting all those things, then you need to see a psychiatrist. If you've seen one and they've prescribed medication for you, take those medication as prescribed, when prescribed. Take it. It's good for you. If it's not working, because medication may work for 1 year, 2 years, and then it stops working, either because your body has a new stress level that the medication dosage is not good for. So you gotta go back and say, look, what worked for me before is no longer working for me. Or because you now have, or your body is now responding to that medication. There are things that have made that medication ineffective for you. You go back and say, this used to work. I was able to get 5, 6 hours of sleep with this medication. Now I can't. I think we need to try something else. So take your medication. If you're not taking prescribed medication, take vitamins that would help you to maintain your well-being. Number 4, take care of your body. That's a book that I have here. I haven't been able to finish it, but it says the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score. Your body keeps the score. Tells you what's going on. If we give it the right tool, it will take care of a lot of things that bother us. So what do? Make sure you get good sleep. Make sure you get good sleep. One day we're going to revisit having quality sleep, what to do to have quality sleep. And make sure you have 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep every night. There are things you can do to induce sleep. Sleep well, diet well, know when to eat. If you're over 50, there's just some things you can't eat at will anymore. I say that when you're under 50, even under 40, you eat to live, or you live to eat. You eat whatever, you have fun. Once you're over 40, 50, you eat to live. You eat whatever is necessary so you can continue to be functional. So eat the right thing, eat at the right time. There's things that are good to eat, just the timing of it is not good for you. Make sure you have a relaxation time and strategy. The things that relax you, do those things. Do breathing exercise. I will keep saying I'll teach some breathing exercises and intervention. I haven't done that, but I will. And then we'll do grounding. We also talk about grounding. Number 5, identify your negative automatic thoughts. What are the negative automatic thinking that comes to you? Identify them and make sure that you challenge them. Know the things that come to you readily. I'm not good enough. I'm fat. I'm trapped. I'm unlucky. I'm cursed. I'm not smart. Those are negative automatic thoughts. Good things never happen to me. I always have bad luck. Negative automatic thoughts. People don't like me. No one loves me. Negative automatic thinking. If that's you, know when they are coming, address them and challenge them. Identify, challenge, and replace. How do you challenge? You say, well, no one likes me. Is it true? My mom likes me. My wife, my spouse likes me. My children loves me. So that's how to challenge it. And then we replace it with, my children loves me. I am loved by my church members. My pastor loves me. And I'm using those that I remember. My pastor loves me. I'm trying to admit some people who are here, but I'm not. My pastor loves me. If you're in the outer court, I'm trying to admit you, believe me, okay? I think I have. So my pastor loves me, people loves me, you challenge those thoughts. So identify your automatic thoughts. I think the next topic that I'm going to do after this interventions, we're going to talk about how to know your core belief, because your core beliefs are the lenses through which you see the world. However you see yourself is based on your core belief and based on what our parents gave us. So identify your negative automatic thoughts. Be kind to yourself. That's the 6th one. Be kind to yourself. Be kind. If you make a mistake, it's a mistake. You don't become that. You're not mistake. You just made a mistake. You're not a failure because you failed once. I was watching someone saying, it's funny, but it was a saying. Somebody was asking his wife, if I cheat once, does that make me a cheat? His wife said, yeah, that makes you a cheat. And he said, well, if I cut my hair once, does that make me a barber? And his wife says, now you got me. It doesn't make you a barber. And he said, then why does one cheating make me a cheat? Now, that's I'm trying to draw the parallel. Obviously, one cheating makes you a cheat, but that's a parallel. So one mistake doesn't make you a failure. One that you failed an exam, you made a mistake, that doesn't define you. When I do addiction counseling, I never use the term addict. I never use the term to the person or alcoholic to the person. Never call you. You're just someone who's drinking a little too much. And if you can help yourself to stop, you are still the same person. So that's it. So that's number 7. Be kind to yourself, forgive yourself, pamper yourself, do positive affirmation. If you have negative thoughts, automatic negative thoughts, have a set of affirmations that you do for yourself, things you say about yourself. Have them ready that you say, I am this, I am wonderfully and grateful, and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm a child of God. If you're a Christian, I am a daughter of this person. I am this, I'm a mom. Things that are positive that you say about, I'm smart, I finished college. What are the percentage of the people that finish college? I have a master's degree. What are the percentage? So I tell people that if I make a mistake in my writing or in my speech, trust me, that doesn't define me. Because if you start counting how many degrees and how many exams that I've taken in my lifetime, that just tells me I'm not stupid. I've taken those exams, gone through those schools, passed them, evaluated, I'm good. So I can't suddenly make one mistake and be stupid. So be kind to yourself. Have things you say to yourself that would lift you up. I'm a child of God. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. God is with me all the time. Say those things to yourself. Finally, develop and nurture hope and purpose. This is where I'm going to stop. This takes a whole lot. You develop, have an essence. What am I here for? What am I living for? If you're living day by day and you have no purpose in life, you have nothing that you're pursuing, obviously you come to time when you ask yourself, why am I here? If we can't answer that question, then we might as well exit. But we're not good to be, we're good enough to be here. But I can't ask myself, why am I here? Because I know why I'm here. I'm doing why I'm here every day. So the question is, what is my purpose? Is also already being answered. The only question is, how do I keep pursuing my purpose? So if you don't have things that give you hope and purpose, generate one. Connect with your essence. Make an effort to find something that to live for. And I'm not talking about your children, because if that's what it is, if they disappoint you, then you're saying there's no point to live. I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about connecting with your essence. That's part of my interventions with people who are going through depression or anxiety or any mental illness, because for the most part, they have disconnected with their love and dream and aspiration and purpose. And when you're really down, you forget those things. So I would walk you back to those things, because that's how we find ourselves. Someone says, if we have a why to live, we'll find a reason to live. I honestly believe in it. If I have a reason to be alive till tomorrow, I'll be alive till tomorrow. I'll make sure. If I have to stay awake and be here tomorrow, I'll make sure I do that, because I have an appointment. I have something to do tomorrow. And one simple way of explaining that, mothers, a lot of mothers will say, for the sake of my children, I'm here because of my children. I'm enduring this condition because of my children. I'm here because of, or for the fear of God. Of whatever it is, find a reason to be alive. Develop one, connect with it. And when we do, we'll have power, we'll have energy and grace and resilience to live through whatever we face. So that's it, guys. 7 coping skills: connect with your emotional support, be aware of your triggers, take your medication and vitamins, take care of your body, identify your negative automatic thoughts, be kind to yourself, develop and nurture hope. Hope. Looks simple, but it keeps people alive. Having hope. My worst clients who are dealing with depression are not looking beyond this way. I'm looking at now. Now is very dark and uncomfortable. They've developed hopelessness. And in that place of darkness, it perpetuates depression, worry, and anxiety. So I can get them out of that. I'll take them to the happy place because we aspire, we dream, we think about our purpose, our calling when we are happy. So I take them back there so they can begin to think about living. So that's what we have. I see a lot of people are in the outer court, but we are done. I want to remind us, our certified mental health and addiction course is starting next week on not this week, the other one on the 11th. It's not too late to join. We were already having a discussion and I was asking them, what is the myth? What's the belief system in your neighborhood, in your area, in your culture about addiction and mental illness? So far, we've got to identify 3. People believe that addiction and mental illness is caused by witchcraft. That's African belief. Some Western, Louisiana here, we have people that believe that. I actually have a client who tells me that the voices she's hearing is from the spirit. The spirit is talking to me. So not just an African thing. So some people say mental illness, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, talking to yourself, hearing voices is witchcraft. The source is witchcraft. That's one. Some people say, that's the new one that I haven't had before, that if you anoint him, make a man of God mad, they may curse you, and the curse may lead to mental illness. So I haven't had that before. And another person said, I saw my parents drink. That's they drink, they party, they're drunk. That's all I saw all my life. And I thought it was normal. I saw people who had mental illness while growing up. I thought it was normal until when I grew up, I realized not everybody drinks and passes out. Not everybody has mental illness. But all my life, my uncles, my aunties, my parents, they had one kind of mental illness or the other, or addiction. So I thought it was normal. So environment, witchcraft, spiritual, if you will, that's the kind of thing that we discuss in that class. Certified mental health and addiction counseling. It's a 14-week course. We start from now, we end in May. You have that much time to pay the tuition. Tuition is highly subsidized. So you have that much time. You're going to learn about the interaction of family in addiction and mental illness. We're going to define what addiction is. We're going to talk about how to set up your own clinic, your own rehab, if you're interested, how to incorporate it into your crèche, if you have a school, how to incorporate it into your church, if you have a church, ministry, whatever thing you're doing, how to incorporate that into this, incorporate your certification for mental health in addiction into what you're doing. We've had nurses take this class. We've had doctors who take this class. We've had pharmacists take this class. A lot of pastors who already have a site take this class. A lot of teachers who are seeing the explosion of addiction among the youths. A lot of them come and say, I need to know something about this. But students have it. So, but the real creme de la creme, why I'm doing it, is for those who are retired. It's a second, third career. You can do counseling as long as you can talk and think. Even if you're on a wheelchair, even if you're on a bed, you can do counseling. In fact, the older you are, the better people believe you. So if this is you and you want to explore that, leave a message, reach to any of our staffs. Chris is here, leave a message and we will reach you. And those who couldn't join, we will repost this. We're going to repost the link to our YouTube so you can watch again. So other than that, guys, we will be ending here. Thank you all. I wish I have time for questions, but I don't. So I'm going to stop here. God bless you all. God bless you.